The cellar greets me ominously as I descend. Very ominously. Why? We renovated this entire place. Why did we not put electricity down here? Why do we have to have torches? And why is there webs everywhere? Did we not clean? What is this, the ghostly cellar? The space feels smaller, with a lot more bottles lining the wall compared to before, and knowing what might be waiting for me here makes things worse. The mirror that had been moved from the study is my goal. I did not return to it after my initial discovery, but the thought of Lorraine, how much I want to see her again, even if it's just for one more time, keeps coming back to mind. As I walk through the cellar, I have to stop when I feel something crunch beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind here are now nothing but glass under my heels. Someone was drinking down here? Perhaps dropped by one of the many chefs and bartenders the butler had escorted through here before. Perhaps dropped by them when the ghost lady sucked their soul out. And it made a downright mess with red slick pooling from the remnants of a good drink. With how dark this place is, a person with a dark enough imagination can easily mistake it for blood. I can't help but think it is, despite the easy, logical explanation that had come to my mind, only because of what I'm about to do. It's merely a momentary distraction as I continue to the end of the cellar where the mirror stands. Propped up on the far wall, it gleams innocently while pretending to be a simple and ordinary mirror. How morbid to think this thing can show a person their deepest, most desperate desires and then twists it to an image so dark. That's what I had seen that day. Though I heard Lorraine many times, I had only seen her here within its frame. I wonder if people have discovered it before. How many were wasted away in front of it, enamored, and how many were frightened away by what they saw? Yet as I stand before it now, nothing. I can barely see my own reflection in this darkness.
How does this even work? Mirror, mirror on the wall? Something? Anything?
Nothing. Touching its surface doesn't make it magically activate or anything like that. There is no sudden surge of power, and I am not suddenly granted sight. It stays what it is, a mirror. Was Lorraine's appearance in the mirror all some sort of fever dream? Am I really that burdened with guilt and despair that my mind would eat itself in my stress and have me hallucinate such things? Either way, just going here on some crazed obsession for a girl long gone must warrant me a trip to a doctor. Already I feel ill. After a few more minutes, in the hopes that something would change, I turn around to leave. I can just go back upstairs like nothing ever happened, perhaps drop by the party for some hors d'oeuvres, then go home and collect myself. Besides, Mrs. Wright is expecting me, and I'm...
Going to leave me again then, are you?
You don't sound so ghostly. I stop in my tracks, but I don't turn back. As much as it pains me, I don't look back. If I'm just hearing her again, desperately delusional, and I look back to see nothing, I don't want to give myself false hope. But when I feel fingers around my wrist pull at me, I look back in shock. Wow. You even look pretty healthy. My first thought is, how in God's name is this possible? And the second is, Lorraine. Her hands are cold.
Are you that mad at me that you're just going to ignore me, Marianne?
I don't know what to say, and I can only stare at her in wonder. She stands there, in the mirror, with only her arm extended outward for my sake. I look at the hand still holding my wrist, and when she sees me looking at it, she moves it so that our hands are intertwined, fingers weave together. Seeing her there and feeling her touch meant I'm not crazy, though however impossible and unexplainable this is all to me right now. It just takes my breath away. Pulling her out from there is tempting. I can imagine doing so with ease. We can be together again, Lorraine and Marianne, like nothing had ever happened. But that would be all a great big lie, wouldn't it?
What? Pack out your tongue? Don't just look at me like that. Say something.
Even if this thing were some magic portal that could bring back the dead, that doesn't erase anything. Just looking at her, still a young teenager, while I'm already a grown woman, it serves no other reason than to break the illusion that blinds me. I've seen her twice now, always behind the mirror. If this is real, if this isn't some delusion, then why can she only exist behind the glass?
Yeah. You have no idea how happy I am to see you. It's been so long.
You don't look happy.
I really am happy.
I just also am gonna puke.
But at the same time, I can't help but think about what happened. To you.
And what does that mean? What are you saying?
She gives me this peculiar look. And before my eyes, she moves the step out of the mirror. Well, now we're in trouble. In turn, I wrench my hand from her and take a step back, almost as if I'm afraid.
I don't know how this is possible. But whatever this is, it isn't real. You can't be real.
I'm right here, aren't I? What other proof do you need?
No, I see you. I hear you. I feel you. But even with all that, you can't be real. You just can't. I saw your body. I helped bury you. You're dead.
A deep hurt crosses her face, and it just breaks my heart in two seeing her wear that expression.
Burying me wasn't the only thing you did. Don't you dare lie. But I'm going to be the bigger woman, aren't I? Let bygones be bygones. I'll forgive you. As long as you stay with me, Marianne.
Girl, get out of there.
That's why you came down here, right? To find me?
Yes, and I'm not sure what her plan was after that. She sounded so confident about coming down here to do something grand, but I don't know what it is. That was the plan. I came down here looking for her, for closure. But this isn't just closure. This is something else entirely. I didn't think I would be forced to make such a choice. Do I leave or do I stay? Good God. We're not staying. Staying means living in the mirror, whatever that is. I assume you have to die for that to happen. And then you find out it wasn't Lorraine after all. Alright, let's go. Closure. That's all I came here for. Whatever this is, it might as well all be just a devil's trick. And I might as well make some use of it, right? I say nothing at first, for fear of angering whatever phantom this is. I take Lorraine's hand and bring it up to my lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. She takes it as some sort of invitation to pull me along, to step back into the mirror until only her arm is extended again.
I should have been more honest back then, both to you and myself. I know it's too late. I'm sorry. But
the thought of being with the dead did not agree with me. Not one bit.
I can't stay with you.
Goodbye, my first love. Aw, missed opportunity, though. It should have been, I can see clearly now. Because Lorraine is gone. Hey! That's really bad. I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. I can see clearly now. Lorraine is gone. Jokes. It's supposed to be a touching moment, sorry.
So what? You're going to leave me for some old trophy wife?
I'll leave you for anybody this time.
That's it, isn't it? You're going to leave poor Amy Lorraine and go after the next rich, pretty blonde that you see.
This is a mistake.
All these years, guilt has been my driving force. I felt so guilty for what I did, what I didn't do.
She thinks she can guilt me into being complacent, but she realizes otherwise as I pull my hand from her. And going by the look of anger on her face, an anger that runs cold, she did not like the fact that I'm not some puppet on a string. Had she chosen her words carefully, I would have accepted whatever punishment Lorraine chooses to give me. Guilt had run my life, and it might have very well ended it. Because I deserved it.
But what I did to me. The blood in my hands is mine, not yours.
Whoever or whatever this shadow is, my gut tells me she's not Lorraine. Yet I keep talking as if she is.
I broke your heart, not your neck.
Man, Marianne is having, like, major character development right now. It's awesome to see her, like, move past this that she's been holding on for so many years.
Don't you dare deny it! It was your fault!
Because I loved you more than I dared to admit? Yes, that was my fault. But I never meant to hurt you like that.
Despite my words, no matter how sincere they are, she appears angry. Enraged, in fact. It's been years since I last saw that face, and even now the memory of it is still etched deeply in my mind. The hurt, the tears, and the hate spilling from her eyes that day, the moment I rejected her. Rejected myself for who I am. And she definitely will hate what I am about to do next. To my left, a wine rack. And from there, I take a bottle and pray to all the saints I can remember. Oh, she's gonna smash the mirror. Will that work? At least in Marianne's case? For all my sins. For every hurtful words I've uttered. For what I have driven her to do that day. What I forced her into.
What are you doing?
I do it without thinking twice. Quickly, before I can hesitate, I grab a bottle and send it straight towards the mirror. Shards of the bottle and the mirror are sent flying everywhere as Lorraine's screams echo in the cellar. Bitter. Searing. Like every wounding accusation she hurled at me. They've never left me. I doubt they ever will. But with this, I can move away from them. From her. Live my life as I should, free from the burden. Her burden. Because the Lorraine I know, the real one, the person I loved, will never want me carrying this to my death. As the screaming dies down, I can't help but mutter weakly.
It's done. It's done.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Oh, Lorraine. Forgive me, Lorraine.
Well, it's quiet. I take some time to compose myself. Breathing in and out, stamping down on the tremor still racking my hand, straightening out my jacket and fixing my hair. All a weak attempt at returning myself to someone resembling my normal self. This would probably be easier to do so with a mirror. But I likely won't be able to stand looking at one for a long time.
Well, now, I should probably go back up there. Party to attend, rich socialites to do business with, and food to eat.
I'd go home, man, have a hot bath, some dark chocolate, go to sleep.
Mrs. Wright will be happy if I make some time for it anyway.
Yet, one last time, to the shattered glass beneath my feet.
I'm sorry, Lorraine. May you see God's light on the path.
Oh, well... I kind of figured that wasn't gonna work. That's too bad. It was nice while it lasted. Turning around to leave, and for good this time, the uneasy smile on my face falls as I see Lorraine whole and well.
Come on, Mac. You really didn't think it would be that easy, did you? You get bonus points for trying. But you should know innate charisma is not enough to turn undead.
Oh my god. Why does this ghost know how to play D&D? I need to know this. What kind of unholy power do you have, ghost? Oh. She advances towards me, backs me against the wall. I can't even reach for another wine bottle without putting myself within her reach. Despite my earlier bravado, I guess she'd be able to exist at all without the mirror. Can you blame me, though? It's not like I'm an expert on the supernatural.
That's not... You shouldn't be...
What? After the mirror? Did you think just moving on will erase what you did to me? You're nothing but a murderer, Marianne. A murderer!
Stay back. You're not real. Leave me alone. Stop. I'm trying to move on with my life, so why won't you let me? Please. Just get out of my head and leave me be.
I try to find an exit when there's a click. The next thing I know, I'm falling back into darkness. Whoa. Whoa. Where the dickens are we now? Hidden door in the cellar? Into a dungeon? With torches that are lit? What? What's happening? I guess I missed the spot. Yes, it must have been this. Desperate to deal with her painful past, Marianne McCullough excused herself from attending the housewarming party to search for Amy Lorraine within the mansion. Seeing her ghost in the wine cellar, however, a realization hit her and she finally let go. I was confused because I think we saw this picture earlier? Which day was that? Okay, that was before that. No, it was the first day. Oh, she looks nice in this one. Okay. Gotcha. I fall on my back and a door slams shut behind me. In a daze, I look around warily and find myself in another room entirely. Why is there a dungeon under this house? I guess it was a lord and lady. Maybe they had need of a dungeon. On the other side of the wall, some sort of secret passage perhaps, an underground tunnel that has me wary and frightened. It also proves that the oddities in the mansion's floor plans are a lot more than just little discrepancies. Yeah. I expect Lorraine to jump out at me from the darkness at any time. A breeze blowing through the tunnel has me relieved, though, at the idea that there is still a way to escape should that happen. That is way better than being trapped underground with... only God knows what that was. A funny thought comes to mind as I start walking to where the exit might be. I think about how Mrs. Wright would be so disappointed if I didn't show up to the party. She did think about you briefly, but then she had bigger fish to fry with, Rochelle. That's her name. I imagine how furious Mr. Wright would be for breaking one of his wine bottles. Even Johan's reaction comes to mind, though I don't really know with that guy. One thing's for sure is that I would be calling Cam and Haruna for a drink as soon as I get out of here. Or not. That noise has me wary. Oh, she's not pretending to be Lorraine anymore. A ghastly thing, a corpse of a woman, leans on the wall. Her arms and limbs, almost every inch of her lithe body, is peppered with wounds and rotting flesh. And it is then that the putrid smell of blood and gore hits me, making it so that I don't even question how I missed it in the first place.
How long has this been here? Oh, that smell. Oh, you're a nasty one, aren't you?
I flinch as the thing twitches. Oh God, I'm not looking at that. And as soon as it opens its eyes and looks at me with a smile, there's nothing on my mind but horror. That face. I break into a run. I try to keep on running, no matter how much my legs and feet scream at me to stop. I keep going, even when I look back and see nothing of her anymore, because I can still hear her. The scampering of her feet, the words she tries to form with her bloodied mouth, and the painful sounds of bones grinding against each other as she moves closer and closer to me.
How long are these damn tunnels?
The way that she sounds just like, man, these dang tunnels just go on forever, don't they? Instead of like, oh my God, how much longer? There's a split second where I know that thing is right behind me. A strange sensation creeping over my limbs when her presence looms over me. And then suddenly, oh God, I can't even do anything before I'm yanked by the hair and pulled back. Still, I struggle up until I'm thrown to the side like some rag doll. I hit the ground on my side, and the musty smell of old hay that reaches me is my only indication that I'm still alive.
Please don't hurt me!
My body hurts, and I keep my eyes shut tight, afraid of what might happen next.
What's wrong, Marianne? Are you really afraid of little old me?
So, you changed the... How do you do that? Man, I'm just in awe of this ghost. There's only dread seeing how she's followed me even here. She looms over me, backs me further in the cell that I was thrown in.
Please. It's so cold. I don't want to be alone, Marianne.
There's a whole bunch of torches here. You can go and cuddle up to one of them.
Why won't you stay with me? Why would you leave me? Why?
What are you?
Oh. Well, at least we saw her change. Lorraine turns and shifts into that thing from before. Is that a camcorder? And with that same gruesome grin, it takes a step forward towards the cell. Towards me. I barely scramble to my knees when the door to the cell slams shut, and it just stands there, staring. Shouts for help ring out in the tunnels. But none of them are coming from me. I'm more paralyzed and shocked by what is happening. My throat tightens at being fooled by the image of Lorraine, at the thought of being trapped down here. So then, where?
Help me, help me, oh, help me! Are you getting all this on camera, Carl? Yeah, but are you guys sure this is a good idea? We're breaking and entering here. Don't worry, the owners of this place haven't been here in a long time. Look at this thing, though! It has writing in blood like some cheesy 80s horror prop. Wait, I have an idea.
Oh, they found the letter. What?
Oh man, that's genius!
What kind of butthead would even take this thing seriously? Maybe we can stick this in Rowan's backpack. That Suarez kid would panic.
That sounds a lot like Hannah, but I don't think it's Hannah. I think it's just her voice actor. Did they add the chainmail message at the bottom?
Guys,
Oh god.
guys?
Prank gone wrong.
What? Spit it out! Behind you!
Oh my god, she killed them all right then. There, in the corner of the cell, a digital camera comes flickering to life and a video has played back on the screen. It was hard to even consider paying any attention to it when my life is on the line. But when the ghost doesn't move and the teenager's mocking shouts of "help me" filled the cell, I just had to watch. Why did she kill them immediately, but is haunting the rest of us? Because they desecrated her letter? And what I had seen. Students, judging by their St. Goretti uniforms, they were holding...
That letter.
And that thing, the woman, she... What? What? Do you want to do that again, madam? Madam? Wait, so is the ghost that's chasing us the lady of the house? But there's another person that looks... She's got like long black hair that we saw in the opening. When she wasn't like a ghost lady. I'm so confused. What? That was a lot. While trying to escape the Phantom disguised as her friend, Marianne discovered an underground prison hidden in the deepest corners of the mansion. Now trapped in one of its cells, she found a recording left behind by some of the mansion's victims. So, I wish I could take a look at the letter. So the letter, the bit about show this to 5 people or else, is not part of the original letter, which is why when the letter was printed at Isabella's workplace, it didn't have that. It just had the help me, help me, help me. So that's why showing it to a whole bunch of people didn't do anything. Because I was like, I've been wondering, Isabella's shown this letter to a whole bunch of people. So why is the ghost still haunting her? It's because that was never part of the curse to begin with. But is the letter even important then? Has everybody who's seen the ghost seen the letter? Are there people who have not seen the letter that have seen the ghost? Oh my goodness. I gotta think about this some more. Oh no, Marianne's stuck in the basement dungeon with a ghost. Oh no, I haven't been this worried since Isabella. Well, she didn't die at the end of her chapter, I guess, technically. So hopefully we'll run into her again. She doesn't starve to death down there. That would be terrible. Becca, I guess. Alright. She was born on April 1st. She's an Aries. She's 29 years old. She's 5'5". She is a history teacher, Scottish, an atheist, raised Kirk. Education, master's degree in education, a major in European history, likes stovies, reading in the library, going to the gym, cycling and jogging, lacrosse, lesson plans. Although of Scottish descent, she grew up in Luxburn and even went to school in St. Goretti. Her parents were professors of European history and Southeast Asian history at Luxburn University. They were often busy, and that forced Rebecca to be independent early on. Surrounded by books and instilled with a love for learning, she was a star pupil and was often called a teacher's pet for it. Her passion for academics, leading to a career in the industry, was to be expected of her. She came out of her shell in her high school years and started becoming the Spitfire she is now. Before then, Ashton was her only friend, though she found him aggravating at first. Independent and used to taking care of others, it was no surprise when she held out the young foreigner who moves in next door. Huh. So she was quiet, and she found Ashton aggravating when she first met him. I'm still reeling from the end of Marianne's story. I'm, like, not prepared to start over with Becca. This is how it begins, or so they say. With a gentle wind drifting through wide-open windows, muffled laughters and footsteps fading behind empty hallways, and the light kiss of the afternoon sun. Soon there will be a call, a crossing of thresholds into the unknown. Maybe we are off to some grand adventure, or diving into another gripping mystery. One can't really tell. For all I know, a hero might even come sweep me off my feet if I'm lucky.
That's not exactly a bad thing when you think about it.
But this is far from one, isn't it? A riveting tale, that is. Well, give it some time. I'm sure some riveting will happen. The mild breeze, the faint murmurs, the warm rays painting every nook and cranny a fiery hue. They are all as real as they can get. As much as I want to write a little tale out of this, I'm far from someone who can. Fleeting fancies, that's what these are. Merely passing thoughts to occupy an idle mind while waiting for another busy workday to end. Then again, maybe in another life I am one? Who knows? But at present, what I have and what I've chosen to be, well...
I won't last years here if I find teaching rowdy adolescents a tedious job, will I?
Admittedly, the whole affair isn't exactly as grand or exciting as I had imagined as a child. If I weren't so stubborn and too passionate about the whole idea, I probably would have quit a long time ago. But it's always the kids that make it worthwhile, isn't it? As if in agreement, as soon as my pen slides into a neat circle against the papers I'm grading, the final bell rings. Like a dam that is open, students begin piling out into the hallway soon after. For a short minute, I let the noise fill my ears, let my mind wander to a place far removed from all the hubbub. Solitary moments like this have come few and far between lately. Even my own home hasn't been as quiet as usually I prefer. Though in hindsight, the entire place hasn't been the same either since Isabella moved in next door. And if her fussing over a minor cold last week tells anything, I might as well throw any idea of solitude at the nearest balcony so long as she lives nearby. At the memory, my eyes automatically shift over the bottle sitting at the edge of my desk. Okay, that's the medicine we insisted she take. A chuckle escapes from me as I reach for it.
A little ball of energy and enthusiasm. That big baby.
Mother Hen, she calls me. And then says and does the same thing right after. It's not that I'm unused to being on the receiving end of other people's worries, or I feel any sort of apprehension over her fretting. If I am to be completely honest, it's actually amusing how someone can be childlike 1 minute, then act like a responsible adult the next. But there's a dissonance there, both in her actions and words. Although she may not look like it, may not say anything, may not lose her cheer, one way or another I know these troubles have weighed down on her lately. Her face says it all, that big numpty. If she thinks I won't notice, she's got another thing coming for her. That's how she has always been. I do understand that part loud and clear. It's just that I really rather not pass another burden on to her.
Or become one myself.
Aren't I supposed to be the one taking care of them? Though I guess that's simply one of those things people eventually grow away from, once you've all started leading different lives. Not completely different, I hope. Somehow that thought makes me feel uneasy. Thankfully, before stranger ideas can take root in my head, a faint buzzing comes from my bag, cutting through the rest of my thoughts. A small frown forms in my lips when the screen lights up and an unknown number flashes. For a long second, my thumb hovers over the answer button. Even the voice that responds once I do accept the call is wholly unfamiliar.
Hello?
Oh, goodness. Finally, it connects.
Rose?
Hello? Is this Miss Gales? Rebecca Gales.
I get sad every time I hear Rose, because she's dead.
Yes, speaking. Who is this?
Oh, sorry. Rose Cooper. Briar Realty Corporation.
Briar Realty?
My frown deepens as I straighten from my chair. Something in her tone, despite sounding remarkably friendly and light, doesn't sit quite well with me. The rigid pause that follows doesn't help ease the tension that has suddenly descended either.
Miss Cooper?
Yes. Things are a bit busy on my end. I apologize. I'm not certain if Isabella has mentioned anything before, but we're working together on a property at the moment, and...
The Armengard Mansion, yes. She said something about that earlier. Is there a problem?
This is about Isabella, actually.
She wastes no time relaying everything. The details she provided are admittedly a bit vague, but enough for me to get a gist of what happened. Is this the day of the open house? It isn't the bad sort I'm expecting, though still worrying. Especially with words panic attack and pale looking a bit sickly woven together in one foreboding sentence. But as quickly as it surfaces, I stomp down on the urge to demand answers right there and then. Now isn't the proper time for useless questions. I'll find out soon enough regardless. To Miss Cooper's credit, she neither hesitates nor falters all throughout. There's some sort of comfort in knowing Isabella has someone like her to guide her, though not as much as I would have liked. After all, this is Isabella we're talking about. What are the chances she just said a bunch of excuses so she won't get sent home? High. Very high. Oh, she is so going to hear it this time.
You were listed as one of her emergency contacts, so I thought it'd be best you know about this.
How is she? Is she doing okay?
I had her take a break for now, but honestly, I'd feel better if someone were to pick her up and take her home for some rest.
But Ash is... maybe Rose doesn't know that Ash is already there.
Anthem's a fair distance from Luxborn. I really don't want her going off on her own. I'd do it myself, but... oh, you know how it is today. Big day. People everywhere until the open house ends. I'm really sorry to ask this of you, Miss Gales. I know you're busy.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just about to leave from work. I hope to leave early today anyway. A few minutes ahead wouldn't hurt.
Oh no, is she gonna drive all the way out there and she's gonna be gone already? I wonder if she was pissed that I came with Ash.
I can be there in a few, 30, 40 minutes tops. Is that all right?
Oh no.
More than fine, Miss Gales, thank you. We're supposed to be here until... oh, excuse me. One moment, please. Yes, ma'am.
The faint hum of conversation echoes from her end. It sounds as though the place is buzzing with more people than you'll expect from a regular open house. I was skeptical at first. The house is old, not to mention its inconvenient location in Luxburn's outskirts. Who wants to live in a place almost an hour's drive away from the comforts of a city? But from what little I can hear, it appears Isabella has every right to be optimistic about this sale. If I didn't understand why she was so adamant refusing my offer of help before, I think I do now. To some degree.
We'll be resuming the tour soon. Yes, thank you. sorry about that. I really need to get this thing going. Lord knows how I'll salvage the situation here. It shouldn't be anything complicated, but still, clients. They can be difficult when they want to be. Anyway, just look for me when you get here, alright? I shouldn't be too hard to miss.
No problem. Thanks for letting me know about this. Just make sure Isabella stays put, please. Heaven knows how stubborn that girl can be.
Oh, believe me, I know. Don't worry about it. I'll have a few of our staff keep an eye on her for me until you get here.
That worked out swimmingly.
That's all I'm asking. I appreciate it.
The whole thing ends on a surprisingly pleasant note. If only the same can be said for the news she brought. I allow a brief minute to pass to ease whatever tension has latched itself firmly to my nerves. But no matter how much I wish for it, my mind stubbornly refuses to do so. My hands are unsteady against the papers I pretend to arrange after. Lucid thoughts, every single ounce of it grimmer than the other, grows with each passing second I linger. Something about this whole thing, along with a sudden unease and nagging worry, screams off. Don't worry, it's just those birds that are flying by the window every 2 seconds. That's what's off. Wrong. Such wrong birds, I see you. This isn't the riveting tale I've hoped to step into today. Oh, thank goodness I'm free. Whew. Even on a rush, getting everything in order before leaving takes nearly a good quarter hour. By the time I make it out of the classroom, the commotion has already died down, dwindling to mere echoes and distant laughters. From the nearby room, melodies from a rehearsing band drifts freely into the air, filling the almost empty hallway with their warm, lively tunes. Any other day, I'll stop, bask in the music, and enjoy what little peace it brings. Not today, however. My steps are brisk and sure as I march to Edward Hall's exit. The sooner I confirm Isabella's okay, the sooner I can shake off this niggling feeling. For one reason or another, that single call, of all possible things, has thrown everything off kilter. I'd rather this be over with as quickly as possible. So much that I nearly barrel over a student in my haste. Though, perhaps it's really the other way around. Oh, you! Oh yeah, you did say you go here, don't you? Hi... Kylie? Is that your name? When I look down, a set of eyes, bright and hopeful, stare back at me. Her arms are wrapped around my waist like a vice, and at my attention a grin spreads over her face.
Buenas tardes, Miss Pink.
Hello, Kylie.
Kylie, yes.
You know, you aren't supposed to run into people like that.
Sorry, Miss Pink.
Miss Pink. That's cute. She loosens her hold on me, but not a hint of guilt or regret appears on her. If anything, it seems the remark only amused her. A smile appears on my face before I can help it, matching the one on her own.
Just remember not to do it again, all right? You could get hurt.
You sound like my mama when she's scolding Rowan, Miss Pink.
Rowan. Wasn't Rowan the name that those pranksters said in the video? They're like, we should stuff this letter in Rowan's backpack? I might be remembering that wrong.
I'm sure your mama only means well. I know she'll be worried sick if one of you were to get hurt. Where's your brother anyway? Aren't you two supposed to be heading home now?
Rowan said he's got some stuff he needs to do before we go. I think he's taking too long. But he promised to buy me jelly babies today, if I keep what he's doing a secret from Mama and Papa.
Any chance you'll tell Miss Pink about it?
She shakes her head, both her hands going to her mouth as if to keep a precious secret from spilling out. She's got jelly babies on the line.
I made a promise.
Are you okay? You sound like you have a cold all of a sudden.
He said it's for Tia Luke.
Oh, something like a gift?
What? Tio Luke? Tio. What is Tio? Is that Uncle? can't remember what Tio is. Wait, so are you related to Luke? What? Too much, too many spider webs. I need one of those boards with like red lines connected everywhere.
Look at you!
What's happening to you, Kylie?
Tio promised to take him somewhere cool when he's old enough. Rowan's gonna prove he's a grown-up.
Laughter slips free from my lips. The teacher in me wants to give whoever this Tio is a reprimand for bringing about this kind of behavior in children. But if both Suarez kids are so fond of him, there shouldn't be anything to worry about, yes? Yes, Suarez. I'm pretty sure that's what the person those pranksters were talking about. Good grief, what a small place this is. At any rate, they're nothing but well-behaved, both Kylie and her brother. Rowan, the eldest, may have an occasional odd streak in and out of class, but their parents taught them well. I see no reason to cast any suspicion of bad behavior on them.
As long as it isn't anything dangerous, all right?
It's not. Cross my heart. My drawings are a lot prettier than what he's doing anyway. Tio said so. Do you want to see? I drew one earlier at class.
Is that why you're here?
Not really. I was gonna show it to my friend first. But since it's you, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you see it before she does.
Oh no. I can't stay right now, Kylie.
Her face falls immediately after the words are out. A small part of me feels responsible for that crestfallen look. But as much as I want to stay a little longer, there's another place I need to be at right now. How long does it take to look at a drawing? She brings it out, you look at it, say, wow, that's really pretty. And then, like, I really gotta go. I'll talk to you later. And frankly, another child to look after. Dang, Becca! That was uncalled for. Taking both of her hands, I kneel in front of her and muster the most rueful smile I can give. At her age, I'm quite sure she already understands what I'm about to say before they're even out. But, remarkably, she doesn't look away or pout as I'm expecting her to.
I'm sorry. You know what? Rowan has a class with me on Monday around this time. Why don't you drop by again next week? After class? I'll even make sure to wait for you. It's just that I absolutely must leave now. My friend had an accident earlier, and I'm the only one she has here.
What about her mama and papa?
Her family lives really far from here, I'm afraid. Do you remember where Asia is? The southeast part?
Was this really faster than looking at the picture? I'm sorry, I'm not good with kids, so maybe I don't know, but I feel like looking at the picture would have taken less time.
That's where they are.
Her eyes immediately light up at my question. Just like that, I know I've earned the girl's forgiveness.
Oh, just like Takako.
Who?
Takako.
My friend. She said she used to live there, only just a little higher than southeast. But she hasn't come home in a long time, so she doesn't remember much about it anymore. Melody says it's weird I talked to her, but I think she's just shy. They could be good friends too! Don't you think so, Miss Pink?
Maybe if you introduce them properly, they will be.
That's what I think. Takako's just lonely. If she makes more friends, she won't be anymore. Is your friend like that too?
A little, possibly.
Is she lonely? Maybe a little.
To be honest, sometimes I can't tell with her.
After all, Isabella has always been the kind to hold a smile, even when things have taken a turn for the worse. 5 years and one will think it's enough time to know a person. But when you consider it, come to think of it, all these years I've never, not even once, seen her cry. Not over a trivial matter, or even when things are tough.
Okay, you can go to her. I'll just show you my drawing next time.
Thank you. Remind me to buy you a huge glass of parfait, all right?
No, I'll get a stomachache. Takako says so. A small one is okay.
Deal.
I'll remember that. Say hi to your friend for me.
I will. I'm sure she'd love to meet you too. See you, Miss Pink.
I'll see you later, Kylie.
London Bridge is
Oh god,
falling
forgot
down,
about that song.
falling down, falling down.
Well, with that in the
London
back.
Bridge is falling down,
My fair lady. Aw, that's so cute. Rebecca Gales received a phone call from Rose Cooper after class asking her to pick up Isabella Santos from the Ermengarde mansion. On her way out of school, an excited Kylie Suarez stops her favorite teacher from leaving. She doesn't look back or wait for any sort of goodbye from me. With a song and an extra spring in her steps, she bounds across the corridor with as much spirit only a child her age can have. As if the conversation has never taken any downhill turn for her at all. As if there isn't a single thing to worry about in the world. Not long after, she disappears behind a door, leaving behind strains of an old familiar rhyme lingering in the air. Carefree, unbidden. Untroubled moments like this, I envy her. And as I resume my hurried pace, a tiny whisper at the back of my mind wishes the same can be said of myself and my own worries. Luxburn may be a small city, but it's no stranger to hellish rush hour traffic. But surprisingly, getting out of the city today proves more of a breeze than a hassle. A relief, considering how none of my calls to Isabella have made it through. Either the reception's really bad over there, or she's ignoring them on purpose. Both does nothing to ease the disquiet in me. The rest of my drive passes without much incident as soon as I'm out the busy streets. In less than 30 minutes, the mansion looms ahead of me. For all the fuss Isabella made about the house, it remains a thing of beauty. Unlike Luxburn, the estate and the nearby Anselm village stand as its complete opposite. Living and breathing the songs of the old, whispers of a once booming haven lingering in the air. Contemporary conveniences aside, it's a place I'm glad modernization hasn't wholly touched.
It's just a shame the locals know more of the silly hearsay than the history itself.
Do share?
If I could only knock some sense into these people!
She's very upset. Sadly, complaining is all I can afford to do. As much as I want to give them a piece of my mind, it isn't why I'm here. I don't think these rich types will appreciate getting a lecture from me either. I have as much business with them as they have with me. With a heavy sigh, I give myself one last second to take in the scenery before heading up the main entrance. Most of the guests are already heading out. Though some still linger, it's mainly just to take photos of the house's facade or its various rooms. I pause for a moment, scanning the small crowd gathered at the foyer, looking for any sign of that familiar ponytail among the sea of hats and heads.
No sign of her.
No sign of the other staff or Miss Cooper either. I can certainly look for Isabella on my own, but in a place this big, don't go in the attic. I'd be lucky if I didn't end up lost or find her before we need to meet with Zachary and Ash tonight. Sighing, I reach for my mobile and redial her number, the gesture familiar now after so many attempts earlier. If she doesn't answer, I can still try contacting Miss Cooper. I just hope the network reception will cooperate this time. This side of the county has never been popular with the tech-savvy, after all. To my relief, it only took 3 unsuccessful tries. At the 4th one, right as it's about to switch to another intercept message, the line finally rings. Come to the attic. Silence follows while I wait for her to pick up, the ringing going far too long for my taste. By now, most of the visitors have already cleared out. All I have for company are the faint murmurs and an eerie calmness left in their wake. A sudden hush settles and gives way to noises louder than they're ever meant to be. Doors creaking and slamming shut in some distant part of the mansion, floorboards groaning under the sheer weight of the house's history. In the now empty hall, they all reverberate with special clarity against the walls. Like this, those old stories seem to almost have a ring of truth to it. I don't get to stray far into that ugly line of thought, however. Not a second later, a click sounds from the other end.
Hello?
Oh
Isabella?
gosh.
Miss Cooper called earlier and...
Ah.
Isabella? Belle? Are you alright?
Without any warning, the call gets cut off. Busy notes blare sharply against the heavy silence. Isabella never got a call from her. There's something about making calls in this house that, never leave. Oh my goodness, they had the phone thing and the crying woman? We're getting everything with Becca so far. And at this point we haven't seen the letter yet. But above the noise cutting through the mute air remains the faint cries of a woman, from beyond the foyer. My hand falls to my side as I cast a wary look around, waiting for someone to come running. Surely I can't be the only one here hearing this. There must still be some staff hanging around, checking things out. But no one does. Not even when her sobs turn more frantic and anguished.
Excuse me? Hello? Who's there? Isabella? Isabella? Is that you?
I like that we established earlier we've never seen Isabella cry over anything, but we hear frantic sobbing and we're like, Isabella, is that you? No answer. Growing anxious, I amble over where her cries come from, each step slow and cautious towards a door on the other end of the room. While I'm far from someone who readily gives in to fear or stories lacking factual basis, the vague, restless feeling I have earlier immediately returns to me. And despite myself, my heart begins to race and my breathing quickens.
Belle? Belle, it's me. Miss Cooper called. Is everything okay?
Abruptly, all of it stops. My whole body tenses, mouth dragging in a ragged breath, ears straining for any other sound yet to come from the other side. But nothing follows. Instead, the quiet only lends itself to the heavy tension in the air, as if every small movement will disturb the fragile stillness hanging in the room. I wait for another second. Then with a caution, I reach for the knob. My fingers barely graze the brass handle when a hand falls on my shoulder.
Excuse me.
Oh, thank
Ma'am?
goodness. Rose, don't scare me like that. I'll stab you! Becca, it's okay.
I am so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
No, it's a...
Man, she really got affected by that. Still reeling, my gaze shifts back to the door. As of any second now the cries will start again, or whoever's inside will burst out of the room. But I don't get to dwell on these. The woman's worried voice breaks through the haze in my mind again, oddly soothing in the thick of my unease. Even if the concerned look comes from a total stranger, finally being in the company of someone else is somehow comforting.
Ma'am? Are you okay?
Oh, no, I'm fine. This is probably just some cold.
It's quite the cold.
Do you need to sit down?
No need. I'm actually looking for a friend.
I wave the mobile in front of her like the gesture alone explains everything. Vaguely, I note my tight grip on it and quickly slip it into my pocket before she notices. She doesn't need to know.
Well, I'm not really sure if your friend would still be here. We're actually about to close the open house in a few minutes, ma'am.
No worries. She's not a guest here. She works for Briar Realty. Miss Cooper called me earlier. In fact, I'm also looking for her.
Recognition flashes in her eyes, and her worried expression dissolves into a smile at once. It's all I need to know that I don't have to look elsewhere or venture deeper into the mansion on my own. In some way, I'm not too keen on the latter right now.
Oh, Miss Rebecca Gales, is it?
Yes. Sorry if I'm a bit late.
It's not a problem. I was busy with the open house and a few clients anyway. It's actually a good thing you came when you did. Let's see. Isabella should be here somewhere. I told her to stay put earlier. That girl never listens.
Rose? Rosie?
Rosie!
May I have a minute? There's just this one little thing before we go.
Miss Cooper's head immediately snaps up at the voice. In a blink, a different kind of smile spreads on her face. A smile, still. Friendly even, but the kind given mainly for the sake of pleasing other people rather than making friends.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be there in a few.
That smile. It's an impressive thing, to say the least. That level of professionalism. I suppose working years in this kind of business trains you enough to be able to pull that off without batting an eye. It certainly didn't seem to have rubbed off on Isabella, though. Can we stop bashing on Isabella for 5 seconds, Becca?
Sorry, could you give me a second? I have to take care of this.
Don't worry about it. I understand. I can wait a few more minutes. Clients, right?
You won't hear anything from me. Priorities, you know? But if you want, you can stay at the parlor in the meantime. I think we have a few refreshments left.
No, thank you. I'm going out with a few friends after this. Isabella's supposed to join us too. But that depends on how she's doing, of course.
Of course.
All right, this won't be long, I promise.
She throws me an apologetic look before sauntering over the small group gathered at the entrance. A couple, or siblings? And another woman, probably their secretary. Why is it so dark around Luke? There's like this dark smoke. He was kind of like that when we ran into him as Zach in the morning, but I figured that was just because he was angry. He doesn't look particularly upset right now. Either way, they look no different from the other guests. All three of them primly dressed, albeit in a manner significantly simpler than the others. No frills, no extravagance of any form. But their gestures and movements alone speak volumes of their ingrained lifestyle. In their presence, I do what I can to appear inconspicuous on my side of the foyer. Maybe accepting Miss Cooper's offer would have been a much better choice than standing around awkwardly and gaping at them. All while also attempting my best not to listen in on their conversation. Although that one proves more difficult with how enthusiastic the blonde woman is. Her voice easily echoes through the walls with only the 5 of us here. Pretty soon I find myself being drawn into their talk without meaning to.
Tomorrow? First thing in the morning? First thing in the morning, ma'am.
The mundane talk isn't what catches my attention, however.
Very well. We'll have our lawyers prepare everything as soon as possible. Let's make this whole thing easier for everyone, shall we? Just let me know if there's anything you need from me.
I can't stop looking at Rose's smile now. It just is like, please help me. I really don't want to be doing this right now.
You know how to contact me, yes? Got your mobile number saved here already. Good. It's just a matter of time then.
It's a brief moment. A fleeting shift of my eye.
Monday for us, Marianne.
As long as you're positive, we won't be having any problems by that time. You can count on my team.
When did we run into Marianne? As Becca. Okay, no. No. Okay. Tomorrow? Tomorrow. Okay.
You worry too much. Let me handle those things. Do be thrilled, though. I imagine it's not every day you get projects like this,
And the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it. Oh, you also see the black wispy cloud.
Oh, I'm certain Mint's ecstatic, Buttercup.
Blonde bloke.
Aren't you, Marianne? You know, we could all celebrate this with a few drinks. Why don't we?
Oh my gosh. Luke, you are the worst.
In fact, there's this really excellent Irish pub I visited a few days ago.
Maybe that's why he's got the black wisp, because he's evil. Looming, hovering over his shoulders. Drawn to him like a moth to a flame. A dark blur. No. A shadow. Say it's not his own evilness. Say it's the ghost lady. This would make some sense if the ghost is actually the lady of the house. Because we've established he looks a lot like the Lord. She might be like, hey, it's my old hubby. Or fiance. I can't remember if they got married. They were engaged, betrothed, or something.
I think I'll pass on that, sir. I have more important matters to attend to.
Am I going underwater?
Darling, your liver.
I think I'm going underwater.
You already had a glass today, and apparently a few days ago as well.
Your liver!
How many times do we have to remind you? Doctor's orders, remember?
What a shame.
What's happening to me?
You never let me do anything fun.
But as I try to make sense of it, a heavy feeling descends over my whole body. Okay, so this is intentional. I'm not, like... There's something wrong with the sound. It happens without warning, forcing me to close my eyes. The sensation creeps to every part of me, crawling under my skin and draining me little by little of any strength. Before I know it, my hand is gripping the nearby door for support. The sudden nausea drowns out their voices and what little sound there is. All except for the whispers and laughters. Judging. Mocking. Taunting. Muffled, inaudible words bearing down on me like a death sentence. They wrap around my neck and limbs, binds tightening with every syllable, every utterance. Why is this ghost going after Becca so hard? It tried the whole phone creepy thing, did the crying woman thing, and now this? And with each draw of breath I take, they drag me down slowly, almost painfully, into a bottomless abyss. On, and on, and on, till the sounds turn into mere distant echoes, until suddenly it shatters.
Well, what are we waiting for? Are we done here?
Gonna take a big breath now. His voice rips through the fog like a sharp blade and my eyes snap open. Now it's gone. When I looked at them again, it's gone.
Just a second, darling. Send my regards to Isabel, please. Poor girl. Please let her know she doesn't have to worry and tell her to get some rest. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Likewise, ma'am.
No shadows or dark clouds. Only amicable smiles and cordial handshakes. The usual pleasantries as Miss Cooper leads them out the mansion like a graceful host. None of the group seems to have noticed it. And even as I force my breathing to calm down, keep my eyes trained on their backs, and wait for something to happen, it doesn't come back. She returns a moment later. Gently, she closes the great doors behind her, but there's a smile on her lips and an extra skip in her step when she walks back to me. Whatever she was discussing with the group had put her in a good mood. Even she appears to have not observed anything odd. Was I just seeing things? This cold.
Glad that was over. It's been a long day. I thought for sure we were going to... hey, are you sure you're doing okay? You look a bit green.
It's all good. I'm actually still recovering from a cold.
Yeah, you know, the cold.
Weather's been crazy lately.
That must be it. The weather, the stupid cold, and the friendly warnings I'm too stubborn to listen to. As much as I hate to admit it, Isabella's right. I was, and still am a little feverish when she visited me at school this morning. The medicine helped, of course, but only some. Although it's not like I can't function. It did get better after lunch, and I was able to go through my schedule like the usual. Now I'm not so sure. However, I can't keep acting like I've seen some sort of apparition when it's anything but. I simply must have listened too many times to Isabella last week. My fever-muddled mind has started to confuse things. If this doesn't let up, I just need another visit to my doctor. Plain and simple. Though I do hope it won't get worse. We did promise to watch Zachary's film together.
I know what you mean. I've been complaining to Isabel. It doesn't seem to affect her much, though. Must be because she grew up in the tropics. Anyway, shall we? She's probably hanging out with the rest of the catering staff.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised she's there. She eats like 10 hungry men when she isn't feeling well. Lead the way.
With a small nod, she gestures for me to follow. I do so without much thought, finally putting everything in the back of my mind.